You know that feeling, right? When you find yourself typing out a giant 3-paragraph text just to explain why you can't make it to a party, or maybe you launch into this whole complicated backstory to justify a tiny little mistake at work. Well, that's called over-explaining, and today we're going to unpack the surprising psychology behind it, and trust me, it's probably not what you think. So let's start with a scenario that I'm pretty sure is going to feel incredibly familiar to a lot of you, the 3-paragraph text. Oh, you can totally picture it, can't you? Your thumbs are just hovering over the keyboard and you're carefully, meticulously crafting this message to prove your reason is, like, super valid. You're detailing why you're tired, what you have to do tomorrow, how much you really wish you could be there, all because a simple no just feels, I don't know, incomplete, maybe even a little bit dangerous. And it's not just in our social lives, right? Maybe you were, 2 minutes late with a report, and suddenly you find yourself telling this whole saga about your commute and your computer freezing and that one super important email you just had to answer first. You're basically building a legal case for yourself, defending yourself before anyone has even said a word. And that's really what it all boils down to, isn't it? That tension you feel inside, that feeling of just bracing for impact. You're already anticipating that someone's going to be disappointed or angry or judgmental, and you're desperately trying to soften that blow with a wall of words before it can ever even land. Okay, so we know the feeling, we get it, but how do we judge this behavior? When we see it in ourselves or even in other people? Well, usually the judgments are pretty harsh, let's be honest. We might tell ourselves something like, I sound so insecure, or I just need to be more confident. We worry that other people think we're being annoying or that we're just making a bunch of excuses. These are the typical surface-level things we've all kind of been taught to believe. But what if those assumptions are just completely missing the point? What if this isn't about confidence at all? What if it's something way, way deeper? Okay, let's get into the real story behind over-explaining. So here it is. This is the reframe that changes literally everything. What we so often label as a simple lack of confidence is in reality a trauma response. So let's be clear. It's not about weakness. It's about a deeply, deeply ingrained survival strategy. The psychological term for this is fawning. Now, we've all heard about fight, flight, and freeze, right? Well, fawning is the fourth, kind of lesser-known trauma response. It's this instinct to appease a potential threat. So you're not just explaining yourself, you're actively trying to manage someone else's emotional reaction to keep yourself safe. And your main tool? Overwhelming clarity and evidence. Okay, so if this is a survival strategy, where in the world did we learn it? Well, the answer is in our nervous system's incredible, amazing ability to adapt to whatever environment it's in. Here's how that logic gets built inside our nervous system. So, step 1, just imagine a past, maybe it was in your childhood, maybe a past relationship, where being misunderstood had real negative consequences. Step 2, you were in an environment where your reality, what you knew to be true, simply wasn't believed. So, step 3, your nervous system, which is always trying to protect you, learned a new rule for survival. And that rule, step 4, is this: safety is only achieved when you provide so much evidence that your intentions cannot possibly be questioned or twisted. All of a sudden, over-explaining becomes your shield. So, when you see it this way, it allows us to make this really powerful shift. We can finally move from seeing this behavior as some kind of character flaw to understanding it as a highly intelligent protective function. And this is the core takeaway. This is the thing I really want you to hear. The next time you feel that urge to over-explain bubbling up, just try to meet it with a little bit of compassion. You aren't being annoying. You aren't being weak. Your nervous system is simply deploying an old, learned strategy to try and keep you safe. So I'll leave you with this thought to chew on. When you stop seeing over-explaining as a personal flaw and instead see it as an intelligent, if maybe a little outdated, survival skill, how does that change the way you see your own story? It's a really powerful new lens to look through. Thanks for exploring this with me today.